Good morning, everybody. Today's Tuesday. Can you believe I'm here on a Tuesday? Oh my goodness. When I walked in the door, everybody was going, Dawn, it's not Monday. Do you know what day it is, Dawn? Dawn, what are you doing here, Dawn? You don't work on Tuesdays. But yesterday was a holiday. I was working yesterday in my sewing room because I was getting ready for Schoolgirl Sampler, and I thought we couldn't go a whole another week without a couple more Schoolgirl Sampler blocks because we've got 72 to go. I mean, not to go, but we've got to make 72. I'm so excited that I just couldn't hardly stand it. So I called Cappy. Cappy, can we come in? Can I come in and film? And she said, well, Peter's off. I said, well, let's just have the girls do it. So Cappy and I are going to do it. Now, Cappy's going to maybe be clearing her throat and coughing a little bit. She's got allergies. Don't think she's got COVID. She's got allergies. And so it's just, you know, we're all human. That's just the way it is. So she feels bad about it, but, you know, it's the blocks or nothing. So here we're going to do it. We're going to start with block 27, which is the framed 4-patch. Here's Cappy's. Here's mine. This is my Kim Deal one. Mine kind of looks like a road with sidewalks. Cappy just kind of looks like a fireworks. Hers is all confetti and very cute. Very, very fun. And then the second one at block 28 is going to be the Flying X. Now, Cappy and I don't get it. But whatever she wants to call them, it's her book. So here's the Flying X's. And kind of fun. I love how Cappy has switched up her feathers. This is not ostrich. Flamingo feathers for her background. Isn't that fun? And then all these pretty stars like fireworks. Mm-hmm. What can I say? So she's all in the groove for that. Now, this framed 4-patch, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. This Flying X has 4 cornerstone squares, and then it has 4 background squares, and then it has 8 half square triangles. And the way she describes how to do it in the book is cut a big square, cut it in half. No, don't cut it in half. Draw a line from diagonal to diagonal, sew on each side of that line 1/4 inch, and then cut it in half, and then size it, and blah, 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 which would be fine if you only had to make 1 or 2. Okay, but when you have to make 8, it gets to be a little time consuming. So what I like to do is I like to pull out my Thangles. Now this is a paper product that you just sew on top of. It's paper foundation piecing, if that's what you want to call it. That's what I call it. It's $6.99 for a package that does 1,000. So if you don't need to make 1,000, or if you don't think you'll be making 1,000 in your lifetime, go ahead and do it like it says in the book. But as for me, I've gone through probably hundreds of these packages because 1-inch finished half square triangles is my favorite. So when I first started trying out Thangles, I hated them. I got a package, I read the instructions, you know, because that's what you're supposed to do. And it says to cut your fabric the exact width of the Thangle. So I did that and then pinned it on. But you know what happened? It still shifted just a little bit. Well, a little bit is a lot when you're making a half square triangle. I just got to say, why did I just yell? I don't know why I just yelled, but I wanted you to get that.
They heard it.
Yeah, they heard that. So what I decided was, well, my friend Terry from the back door, she loves Thangles, and I don't know if she gave me this hint. Somebody must have given me this hint. It's because it's too brilliant for me to have thought of myself. So I'm going to lay my 2 prints together. This is my background, remember. This is what my pinwheels are going to be. I'm going to lay those on top of each other. And I cut my strip, just, can you see that? 1/4 inch bigger than my Thangle. And then when I lay that on top of there, I'll have a little sliver on each side. So if it should adjust just a little bit, you want me to turn it that way? If it should just move just slightly a bit, I've got some fabric under there for some insurance.
Wiggle room.
Yeah, wiggle room. Ooh, I like that. You know me and wiggling. So, but I only need 8. And there are 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 10 on a sheet of Thangles. So I don't need all those. You know me, wasting fabric. I ain't going to do it. So I'm going to cut one of these off. And I can use it for something later. You know, someday I might need 12. So I'd need a sheet and an extra one. So that's what I would do. So what I'm going to do now is now that I've got my fangle all prepared, I'm going to lay this out, put this on there, and I'm just going to cut that just a tad bit bigger. And because I've been cutting strips all along, you know, it's just feeds right into what I've been doing. So that's how I prepare my fangle. Alrighty, so let's go over to the sewing machine because it is Meet Me at the Sewing Machine Day. A day late. Put the blocks over there. Get my book all in order.
It makes such a difference to have everything in order.
Yeah.
You know, I think people
I
don't
love
realize.
To be organized.
Well, and I think people don't realize how much easier and much more fun it is when you don't have to look for stuff.
Right.
You know.
Everything's right where you put it.
Yep.
Unless somebody comes in and moves it.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
There was that episode
that.
the other night.
There is that. So anyway, you know me, if you've sewn with me for any length of time, you know I've got this blue tape that I use, and I just put it down, and then I draw a line where my needle is, and then I draw a line a 1/4 inch away, and another 1/4 inch away, and then a 1/2 inch away. I have been doing that for years. Years and years and years. And then this silly cluck cluck sew people decided they would put their lines on washi tape, which is kind of a scrapbook thing, kind of like a post-it note, paper tape kind of stuff, and that they would have the lines printed right on the tape. This is curling up. It's curling up on me because I've had it on my machine. But it is reusable. I mean, you know, it's that kind of tape that goes up and down. So I just think this is the bee's knees. My friend Tammy brought this to us when she was here last year and gave everybody a little sample. Well, I never put it on my machine because I always had this on my machine, so why did I need to put it on there? But the other day I bought a new sewing machine for home, and so I was cleaning everything off and getting it all spruced up. And I thought, hey, instead of redrawing all that, I'm going to get that out and see how that works. Oh my goodness. No more drawing for me. Washi tape it is. So how you put it on is you lower your needle, and then you take a ruler, and see how there's straight lines on my faceplate and there's horizontal lines on my faceplate. I'm going to kind of butt that ruler right up against there, and I can see it's straight and straight. I've got some registration marks there. I can tell that because, you know, if you put it on like that, well, that's screwbally. So don't do that, okay?
Well, you could.
You could, but don't do it.
You'll regret
Your
it.
half square triangles will be half square wonky things. So, okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape this down just so it stays secure while I'm putting this tape on. Just want to get that secure. And then it kind of raises my ruler up a little bit. Okay. Then I take my tape and I slip it underneath if it doesn't stick to itself all the way across. And the red line is my needle line. So what I want to do is I want to slip this underneath like that and just slide that right on up to where my needle is. Now I know it looks harder than what it is. If you're not doing it on camera, it's a lot easier. So you just slip that underneath and put that right in place so that it's right on your needle line, okay? This is not... Okay,
It's Monday on Tuesday.
It's Monday on Tuesday, and I'm just screwing up all over the place. Okay, that's got to be down like that. Okay, there, now that's not going to slide. So then you slip this underneath, you get it lined up with your line, your needle line, and you press that down. And then, you know how sometimes I like to move over a 1/4 inch to sew on the diagonal, and then a 1/4 inch on the diagonal. And then when I want to sew a little baby, because I want to move over, there's still enough room once I've sewn for more fabric that if I just cut it off, it'd be trash. But if I sewed another 1/4 inch, it would be a baby, half square triangle. So what I can do is I can take this tape, and where the last 1/4 inch line ends, I can line that up. You got to hold your tongue just right. And you line that up. And now you've got 2 more 1/4 inches you can work from. So a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch is a 1/2 inch. So now I can move over a 1/2 inch and sew a baby. So isn't that awesome? So tape, diagonal seam tape. Let me take that out so you can see it.
Yeah, and we ordered plenty of this.
Yeah, we did. We've got some coming. So that's what it looks like. It just tears off just like regular tape, like that. And what I would recommend is keeping it in this little bag, because my friend Tammy had sent me some before she came, and it must have gotten overheated, or something happened to it, and it wouldn't tear off in a single piece. It just kind of, so it was either old or it had been in the heat or something had happened to it. So make sure you keep that in its bag. Now let's get to sewing our pieces, okay? Okay, so we've got the framed 4 patch, and we've got the block 28, which is the Flying X, which I'm going to start with my Fangle. Okay, I'm going to lower my stitch length to 1.5. You can pin to begin with, and then once you have it secured onto the strips, you can take the pins out and then just sew. I just turn that around, lift up my needle, move that over a little bit. Now on the 1-inch Fangles, they only give you 1/8 of an inch of a seam allowance. See, between that stitch and that stitch, you cut on the line. That's only 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. That's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Because when we sew them, we're going to lower our stitch length. Well, we did lower our stitch length, and that'll catch it just fine. So now I'm going to put my rotary cutter. I'm going to cut away right at the edge of that paper. There's no paper. I didn't cut any paper off. I just used my ruler. I lined it up just so I couldn't see any of the paper showing, right to the edge there.
I love that sound.
That's a brand new yummy blade. Then once I've cut those side lines, that side fabric off, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to start cutting. And you can see on the Fangle, there's a black line, a teeny weeny tiny white line, and another black line. You want to aim for that white line that's in between. Because everybody used to say, well, do you do it on the line, above the line, below the line?
Let me see if I can get a picture.
And so the Fangle people said, hey, we'll just make it easy for you. We'll just put a little sliver of a white line so that you can... Somebody's been using my pointer with glue on it. I don't know what that's about. Okay. So anyway. Okay. So I'm going to just aim for that white line in between those 2 black lines. Accuracy is what we're going for. And it seems like, you know, you're going to just as much trouble, but really you're not. This is much faster than making them the way that she says to make them in the book. Okay. And that's just an itty bitty bit of waste. You know I don't like a lot of waste. Now, since these seam allowances are so close, I'm going to only cut 2 at a time because I don't want to slide off of that seam allowance. There's that. 2 of them.
Boom.
Yeah, boom.
4 half square triangles. Boom.
Yeah, right. And then we're going to have 8 here in a second. Then I get my scissors out and I snip off. There's only 1 dog ear. The way these are made, you only have 1 dog ear to snip off. But
oh yeah, the other one cut when you cut
the
it.
other one, when I cut it, it cut. But now there's no resizing them. There's no squaring them up. They're already squared up. You've done all the work. So see how fast that is? By the time you would have got those 4 squares drawn, sewed on the diagonal, cut in 2, you could have already had these made.
Well, you'd have made a whole Thanksgiving dinner.
I would have had, heck yeah, I would have had a quilt made and some cornbread casserole.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to just hold my thumb and my finger and pull from the center, and just pulls those right off. Look at that. Now these are already the size they need to be. They're not going to be 1 inch because 1 inch is the finished size, okay? So don't expect them to already be 1 inch, even though the Thangle says 1 inch.
Yeah, that's confusing.
That's very confusing for people. You buy the Thangle by the size you want it to be in the project, not the size that it's going to make before you sew it into the project, but the size that it finishes up to be.
Yeah, that is super confusing.
That is super confusing. Lots of people get confused on that. And a lot of people, now let me tell you what some people do, and they cry that their Thangles don't turn out right, is they make they heed my advice and they make the strip bigger, but then they don't cut it.
Oh.
So they leave the strip bigger and then they start slicing. That doesn't work. You've got to cut those sides off. Okay. So there's that. You know what's next? The good old clapper is next.
And we can say that word now.
Yeah, because we have them.
Because we have them. There was a period of time we did not.
And you can see that is a little seam allowance, but look, you just treat it just like any other. You open it up with your finger. You take your iron. My iron's off. How did my iron get off?
I'm telling you, that chick got in here and messed with your stuff.
I always set my iron at the highest heat when I'm working with cotton fabric. I know there's a cotton setting. I go for a little bit higher. I want it to be just as hot as it can be on this wool. I'm going to let it sit there for a minute because the iron was still warming up. I'm going to close my rotary cutter. That's a bad no-no thing.
So I have cats at my sewing table now because I have these new baby kitties.
Yes, you do.
And I have learned, I found out that as good as I thought I was about closing my rotary cutter, I was not so good.
Really?
Yes, because
But don't you have one of those that you just pop?
I do, but I have other ones too because I have, I have that one at the big table.
Oh,
and
you
then
got to have one of every one.
Yeah, I got one everywhere.
One of a kind.
So the one that you just pop, I'm fine with, but the other ones, and the kitties are fascinated with everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yikes.
Yeah. Nail trim.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah!
It wasn't. I've learned.
Yeah, and they like to lick.
Well, yeah, mine are
Ew.
touchers. They want to touch
Oh,
everything.
that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I know, poor little guys. They figured it out real quick. I was like, oh yeah, we can't do that. And then the other thing is my little iron. They could kind of got up sniffing at it, and it was like it only took once. They learned, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of let them. It was like, okay, I'm gonna have to let you hurt yourself just a scooch, just so you know. But they don't do it anymore, so
Good.
they're educated.
They learn fast.
Well, one did, one not so much, you know.
Well, you have one that's kind of a character, and then you have another one that's kind of a
cat.
A cat.
He's normal.
Yeah, he's
I have one that's more like a dog. He plays fetch and
he's just the fun. And peekaboo, hide and
peekaboo.
seek.
He plays peekaboo with me. Yeah, he plays peekaboo.
Oh
and
my goodness.
he's a funny cat. He's
ridiculous. Now we turned the calendar. You want to see?
Oh yeah, let's see who's up there. Okay,
now
here we go.
it's not Chloe this time.
Aww.
It's Chloe's predecessor. This is Whitney.
Aww.
And this was my brother's. Now this is going to be a story. This is my brother's mother. We don't share the same mother, okay?
The dog was his mother?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm so confused. I'm already confused.
My brother's mother.
Okay.
Jamie's my brother. Jean was his mother.
Gotcha.
She passed away, and the dog came to Jamie.
Got it.
Jamie had never owned a dog.
Oh, surprise.
I didn't even know Jamie liked dogs.
Oh.
Because we've always had dogs, and he never really paid much attention to them. I mean, yeah, he'd say hi to them, but I mean, he never really lollygagged over them or anything. So I didn't even know Jamie liked dogs. Well, Whitney came into his life and changed everything.
Oh, dogs can do that.
I'm telling you what,
pets are wonderful.
Made his heartstrings
Aw.
just flutter. So he took care of Whitney until we lost Whitney. About a year after Jean passed
Aw.
away, we lost Whitney to cancer.
And what was
And
Whitney?
she's a schnauzer, a
Schnauzer.
white schnauzer. Look at
Look
those
at-
ears.
I know
She's
those
part
ears.
bunny rabbit. It
Look
looks
at
like.
that. They're huge.
Isn't she cute though?
Her little nose
She
looks sweet.
she was really tiny, real tiny, much
Yeah.
tinier than Chloe. But so when I got
You're getting my allergies.
I know.
I know.
I got very attached to Whitney
Aw.
because when she started getting sick, then I took care of her because I didn't want her staying at home while they worked.
Sure.
If she were in pain, I wanted somebody to be there loving on her, giving her some medicine, you know. So I took Whitney in and I said, now, Miss Whitney's just going to live with me for a while. So while they were at work, Miss Whitney came and stayed with me. And so I got very attached, which I do very easily to animals.
You're very nurturing. You're good at that.
And I'm just laying my half square triangles out. Look, they're perfect. They're perfectly.
They are. Look at that.
They're perfectly
Look
perfect.
at the
in
points
every
are
way.
dead on.
And it's just awesome. So I'm just laying them out here. But Whitney and I, we became very close friends. And I was there when Whitney passed. And it was very, very hard. And so I had to go away on a MOTA thing. I was in Texas. And Jamie called me and he says, I've been looking online and I found one, but she's in Georgia. So I'm getting in the car right now and I'm going to go get her.
Oh my.
I said, send me pictures. Oh, FaceTime me, do whatever it takes. I've got to see her. I want to see her. I want to talk to her, you know. So he went, he got her. And that's the story of how we got
That's
Chloe.
how you got Chloe. So she never got to meet Whitney.
No, Whitney was gone. Yeah, probably, I think maybe 3 months.
Okay.
Whitney had been gone 3 months before we got Chloe. So, anyway, so that's my Chloe baby girl story. But that's Whitney, and I wanted
She's
to put her
cute.
in the calendar. And it says, remember me
Well,
under
yes.
there for the 4th of July. I wanted to remember
She's a cutie.
Whitney.
We love our pets.
We do love our pets. So now we've got everything organized and ready to sew. So I'm going to start up here with my 4-patch. And you can kind of see how I've used the same colors because when I got into my pile, I discovered I hadn't used this yellow before and I really liked it. And this kind of looked patriotic to me. And since we just celebrated the 4th of July, I was kind of in the patriotic mood.
Yeah, I know we've got totally different styles, but I've found that too. I'm starting to be able to use some of my scraps from previous cuts. And it's kind of fun to go in there and go, oh, wait, that'll work and that'll work. You know, you have the little boxes.
Oh, half the fun is getting in your fabrics and playing with them.
I think I spend more time picking out the fabric almost than I do sewing it
You
together.
do.
That's
what
the fun
I
part.
do. That's the fun part. Definitely.
It's like using your crayons, right?
Exactly. The big crayon kerfuffle. Yes. Did you color this weekend?
I did. I did.
Too.
I colored.
I colored this weekend. Now, I thought that'd be a good thing for Dad to do.
Oh, yeah? Did he?
Yeah, no, he didn't.
I didn't want to color.
No, he didn't want to color.
Well, he probably didn't color before.
Yeah, he did. He was
did
a
he?
painter.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, he was
I
a
wonder
painter.
if he'd do better with a paintbrush and watercolor.
Well, I don't want to go there.
Messy.
Don't
Yeah.
want to go there. Okay, so now I'm getting ready. So I sewed that 4-patch. That was pretty easy. But now I'm getting ready to do these rows. And in my mind, I've got to remember where I start and where I end. Because it would be easy to get these into my sewing machine in pairs and not be able to get them back together. So in my mind, I always start right here and work across and work across and work across and work across.
Oh, so you go right to left.
I do go right to left. I don't know why. A lot of times I'll go left to right, but on this kind of thing, I always go right to left.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is I'm putting these in my sewing machine just in pairs. I'm picking them up just as they come off the board. And this really helps me because it could be, you know, you could be, take a sneeze and these would blow all over the place. And when you pick them back up, they wouldn't be in the right order. When you're working with half square triangles, especially 8 of them in such a small little block like this, it would be super easy to get one turned around. Okay, now my sewing machine, I wondered why it was taking such bitty bites. I remember I lowered my stitch length. So all I'm going to do is hit the clear button and it'll bring it back to my regular stitch
And that's not a
length.
huge
It's
problem.
No, heck no. I always sew them small stitch. But since we're on a video, we don't want to be here all day and all night while my sewing machine takes 1.5 size stitches.
And we're getting editing software, so we're going to get
We are.
uptown
And we're getting a new computer. I mean, Peter's going to be a whole department all of his own. And so he, he's got the biggest desk in the whole place. So he's
I think he and
getting all
Nancy have the same size desk.
Oh, okay. Well, he's getting all set up, and hopefully we're going to be putting out some fine quality stuff. Which our stuff right now is great quality. I mean, I think we're getting across what we want to get across.
Yeah, we just trying to make it cleaner, neater, better.
Yeah.
You know, as a shop, we're always trying to make it better for the customer,
Well,
and that's our
you know,
goal.
there's always things to learn when it comes to the internet.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And what worked yesterday is not going to work today.
And boy, is that exactly
And on
true.
Mondays, nothing works.
Right. But it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Okay, now see here, I've got this nice big long line of stuff. Now I know that the first 2 things are my 4 patches that go up there. So I'm going to take that off. I'm not even going to press them open. I'm just going to, I know that one's that one. And that's that one. And now I know that this is this one. Well, actually they're like this, but this is this one. And see, I'm just going to put them back in order. See that? Because if I don't, I'll be all messed up. There's that. And there's that. And to get this one out of my sewing machine so that I can have my order all in order here, I'm going to sew on a beginner and an ender.
Yeah, and look, this is so cool. Look at our little boxes of...
This is my dark, this is my light. I take one of each, I sew them together, and I can either have 4 patches, or I can press all these open one day and add another light one over here, or a dark one over there, and I could be having 9 patches.
Yeah. Gee,
So,
always got a quilt
yeah,
going.
always got a quilt going on over there. So now I'm going to bring my clapper over, bring my iron over.
And it's hot.
It's hot now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press these as they're in place so that I don't lose the layout of my block.
Yeah, I think pinwheels, and it's just probably something in my brain, but I think pinwheels are hard to be sure. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've done a pinwheel and then I get to the end and it's like, oh, that one's on the wrong side. I mean, they could be.
Yeah. They do get mixed up.
They can be mixed up.
Anytime you're working half square triangles, you know, they can get screwbally.
Yeah.
But you can always check your little thing here, see? It goes right there. That's why the book, having the book right in front of you is so nice.
Yeah, I love that hangy tray thing you got it on. That's pretty
cool.
cool.
You know, this is one of those Sew Emmas that we sell here. I don't think they have that color anymore. But I just put it up with the pegboard. And voila, it stayed. And I like it a lot.
It's got a nice little shelf on the bottom.
Even, yeah, you could sit it. If you had enough room to sit it, you could just sit it in front of you. But I like it having it up off the table.
Yeah, anytime you can hang something and have more table space, it's always a good day.
Yeah. Yeah, I love these little cabinets that we have.
Yeah, these arrow cabinets are awesome.
They are. And every so often we have a sale on them. We just got done with a chair sale. So maybe pretty soon they'll be having some sales on cabinets, and that's the time to get them.
Yeah, we have an email that goes out every couple weeks now. It used to go out weekly, but now it's just going out every couple weeks, and in there is usually the information about that. So if you're not getting our email, be sure you go to our website and sign up for that, because it's...
What is our website, Kathy?
Because it's not really a dot, it's a period. But you know, we've said dot for years, and it's the grammatical person in me makes me crazy. But anyway, www.alwaysinstitches1, and it's the number 1. It's not spelled out. So it's 1.com. Alwaysinstitches1.com, because we're your number 1 stitching shop. So
my friend Tammy, her dad was hilarious. I just loved that man. His name was Harold. His name still is Harold in heaven. But anyway, he
look how they're looking.
One day we said to Harold, what do you want for Christmas? I want me one of them .coms.
Oh, a .com. Well, he evidently didn't know what it was. He didn't know, but he
heard everybody talking about it.
A .com.
And of course, he just got his new phone that wasn't a flip phone. And he says, I want me one of them .coms.
Let me get you one. You could have made Harold.com. I mean, you could have given him a website.
We thought that was hilarious. I want one of them .coms. So I'm just going to pick up my 4-patch, and I'm going to finish it out. And am I going to pin? Cappy, what do you think?
Oh, I'm thinking that short you might not.
No, I am. I'm going to pin.
Are you going to pin it?
Yeah, of course I am. My viewers are all screaming, yes, she
is.
is.
I know. See, when they're that close.
They know me.
Now, see, and difference in sewing. When they're that close, I don't pin, but I use my stylus to hold it together when I get up to that
I want
point.
those seams to go together.
Well,
you know.
I know.
To each his own, right?
You got to do what works for you.
Okay, now I'm going to cut off my
There's
beginner and ender there.
And it goes in this box.
Yeah, it does. It does. It goes in that box. So now I'm going to start on my other block. And am I going to pin?
I think you will.
I'm not.
You little brat.
Because I'm not sewing over the seam. I'm sewing here.
Ah.
Okay? So there's no seam to be sewn over. Okay? I tricked her.
She did.
And so then, and I'm just going top to bottom.
Yeah, it's just 1 inch, so you're not going to pin that.
Top to bottom. When I take these off of my sewing machine, I'll take them off one at a time and put them right back where I got them from. That's kind of my favorite thing. Put it back where you got it from.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to teach that to all our staff in here. We've got, I think there's, 7 or 8 people in the back room, and we've all got desks. And you know how it is in any office. I think somebody's always like grabbing a pair of scissors or doing whatever.
Yeah. Hey, Dawn, do you have a stapler? I do, if you'll bring it back.
Yeah,
You can borrow it. But now the new thing at home is light switches.
Oh.
I don't understand why a man, now a woman, she's not going to leave the light switch on.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, really? Are you bad about that?
No, I'm not. But around, we've got 27 employees in this building, and there's light switches on. Sometimes it's like, now wait a minute. We had a whole light switch kerfuffle here the other day.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. I'm a firm believer when you walk into the room, if you leave the light on, when you leave the room, you should turn it off.
Yeah, you should. I agree.
I do not own stock in the electric company,
I agree.
so I am not going to be supporting the electric company wasteful with my electricity.
Well, and it is. It's especially right now when it's so hot.
Yeah.
You don't want to run it any more than you have to.
I'm thinking if you leave the lights on, you must either own stock in a company or you've got money to burn.
Yeah.
So we had a little issue with turning the lights on and off at the house. And Dad doesn't do it.
Oh, really?
No, it's not Dad doing it.
Uh-oh. Well, there, and no disrespect to any of the gentlemen out there, because we do need men in our lives. They're important, but there is a gender deficit problem sometimes. And that gender deficit goes both directions. There's some things we ladies can't do, and there's some things that the gentlemen can't do. And yeah, light switches and finding things in the refrigerator, I think. What is that about?
What about opening your sock drawer and saying, honey, where are my socks?
Where are my socks? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, shoot. And you know what? They come out of the womb that way, because I had a little boy and a little girl. And my daughter, she was 3 years younger than my son, and he couldn't find something. And from the time she was little, she'd be like, I'll go get it, Mommy. She always knew where it was.
Isn't that sweet?
Even when he didn't. Yeah.
Now, see, I'm always checking, because, see, I had that one upside down.
See, that's what I do.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's why you're always checking. You're always checking.
I have that same thing. I have to check 2 or 3 times. And I don't know, pinwheels in my head get muddied up. I have to be careful.
Okay. So see, that one's upside down.
There you
Because
go.
I'm on that third one right there.
Yeah.
But I know which row I'm on because I put them back exactly where I find them.
Yeah, I'm still not sure about the name of this. Flying X.
Flying X. I think this is the X, but I'm not sure. Flying X.
It's okay. She can call it what she wants. It's hers. It's hers.
her book. Her book. She can do what she wants. Okay. Now we're going to take this and we're going to sew these units together.
Now let me ask you. You gonna pin?
Well, of course I am, because right there. Now see, the reason I pin, Cappy, is because I don't want my feed dogs catching that and making that go over and sew it like that. That really aggravates me. And so in order to not make that happen, not so much to keep it even, but just to keep that from flapping over, that's why I do it. Because I agree with you. These are little bitty pieces. And I don't always pin, but whenever I have a seam underneath me. Now see, I could have flipped that over and sewn it and not had that seam underneath me and probably gotten away without pinning.
And that's typically, I try to sew. Now, sometimes you can do it, but sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
I try to sew with those seams on the top.
Yeah.
And then my stylist and I have a really intimate relationship.
Yeah, I love my stylist.
And I'm usually using it to poke things. Now, gosh, and again, it's like inventing things. Forever, I used a chopstick.
Yeah.
I had a chopstick for eternity that I always used.
This might freak you out because this is a little piece, but I'm going to use 3 pins. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that one because I've got a point.
Yeah.
That I want to touch each other when it opens up. So I'm going to pin that pin right through the point intersections. And then I'm going to put that there. Now over here, there's a point on this side, but no point on that side. So all I'm really going to do there is just make sure that that seam lines up. And then I'm going to pin. So for somebody who doesn't pin at all, and I'm not saying you don't ever pin, but I'm saying I've got friends that don't ever pin. Tammy.
Yes. Yeah. Now, see that one that you're working on right there, I would probably pin.
You would have pinned that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But when it's just one seam going, I'm gonna work with it. But look at my squares and look at her squares, and you'll see the difference.
I have a very good relationship with my pins. I love my pin cushion. I love how my pins match my pin cushion.
Sure.
I've got a nice little sewing machine needle because I traded my sewing machine needle the other day.
Well, and those pins that you have right there are extremely sharp.
Yeah, they are.
And that's the other thing. Sometimes, like I have some pins that I love what's on the top of them because it has cute little decorations on the top of them, but they're worthless. They don't pin anything.
Yeah.
They're just pretty. So you put them in a pin cushion to look pretty.
Right.
They don't really
I have
function.
those too.
But I love what's on the top of the pin because it's a cute little design, but I don't.
Okay, that one didn't have.
But yeah, those orange head, those are the ones that you can iron too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the glass.
They're
ones.
glass.
I like those.
They're thin.
Well, they're almost like an applique pin, but they're longer.
Longer.
Yeah.
They are called a patchwork pin, so that we're using them for their purpose. Some people like the longer ones. I don't really care for the longer ones. But
Now, I use those forked pins. I like those real well.
yeah, I never
know.
could get it. Yeah, Peter mentioned those one time.
I kind of have a thing for those forked pins. I've kind of got attached to those.
You know what? I think that they're a little advanced for me.
Oh, I don't think that's true at all. Not even close. I think that probably the other way because I can use them.
I can't use them. I can barely poke one hole, much less two. Okay, now we got this going. We're almost done.
It goes quick. That's what's so addicting about these.
And it's so gratifying because, you know, all of a sudden you've sat at your sewing machine for 40 minutes and you've got 2 blocks already done.
And 40 minutes at the sewing machine is not enough.
It's really not. It's really not. So, okay, here's my 4-patch with my side sewn to it. Here's this. Now, instead of using a beginner and an ender, I'm going to go ahead and press this and sew this as my beginner and ender, just to save some time here. And yes, I'm going to pin, or I could do this. Let's do it the Cappy way, where you put it on top, you put the seam on top, and you have your stiletto at hand, ready to go, in case that seam should flip up, that top seam.
Yep.
But it didn't because, you know, I had it on top and I could watch it. So I used that, and now I'm going to be ready to sew this block totally together. I'm so excited.
It's a fun block.
It's the Flying X. That sound kind of doesn't sound good.
Well, isn't there a truck stop?
I was just going to say, it sounds like a filling station.
I think it is the Flying X.
I think the Flying X is a filling station.
I think it's like a truck stop that has like all the stuff in it.
Okay, so I know that one goes up there. And see, I didn't get any of my my half square triangles going the wrong way. And sometimes if I do, I don't notice it until after I get it back from the quilter.
It's always, but you know what? That proves you made it by hand. It's not perfect because nobody's perfect.
Oh, I've been known to take it out even though it's been quilted.
That's an adventure.
Yeah, that's a darn thing. That is a darn thing.
Well,
but I have one hanging in my kitchen right now that I would dye. It's a Kim Deal little Whatnots quilt. And I would love to take it apart, but I'm trying to have a lesson, a life lesson, that I can accept my flaws.
Yep, we all have them.
We all have them. We all got to deal with them. So that every time I look at that quilt, I think, okay, Dawn, you just got to accept that you did it wrong and that it's going to stay that way and you're going to love it in spite of itself.
That's right.
Okay, so got that all worked out. And I'm going to get that last seam in there.
Wow, about lickety-split, you're going to have a couple blocks there.
I know it. I know it. Hey, you haven't hardly coughed at all since you got up and...
Well, I just had to clear my throat. It's that dumb allergy asthma stuff.
Allergy asthma.
Of course, it's not hot enough that you would think everything that would cause an allergy or asthma would just melt away.
Now, my sister, she had asthma really bad as a child, but then she grew out of it.
I grew into it. I did the
grew
other way.
Really?
I had it a little bit as a child, but then it got worse as I got older. So
Now I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Okay, now Cappy would sew this. She probably wouldn't pin, and she
Nope.
would sew it like this.
Yep. But you pin it.
I'm gonna pin,
You pin it.
it.
Do it
and
what
I'm
works for you.
I'm gonna sew it like this.
See, and I think that's what I love about quilting, is especially when you can be in a community. And I think that's been the hard part. We've lost so much of our community
Because of the COVID.
because of the COVID thing. And now that we've got these video classes, we get to talk to each other and we get to post comments, and we've had people come to the store because they've watched the videos, and that's so fun because they want to come in and say hello. And
Well, I don't know if you watched our video last week, but we showed people how to post pictures
Yep.
on our Insiders page, because here on YouTube you can comment, but you can't really share your progress. And so we did that, and I don't know if we got any new members because of it.
Oh, we did.
We did?
That Insiders page, and that's where you want to go. If you're, we have our Always in Stitches page, and it's kind of the main page, and it's got a lot on it. But we have a lot of little subgroups on our Facebook. We've got the Emma quilt that we're making, and then we have what's called the Insiders page, and it's a smaller group, and we tend to put a little more private things, I guess you could say, in that just the people in that group find out that information. So if we have a
Special. That's our special.
They're special,
page.
and they get like early notice on sales, and then they can post their pictures, and it's a safe, friendly.
Now that's not a thing where you just go and you just click on a button and automatically you're on. You have to kind of be asked to join, and then you go in and approve them, correct?
Right. Well, what happens is they can find the page. It's a public page in the sense that you can find it, but it's a private group, so you have to join it. That way, you only get in those groups if you want to be.
This is what pinning gets you.
Look at that point. Look at that point. Perfect.
You want those points to come right together.
And then let's see what mine look like.
No comparing.
Nope.
You
No
don't have
quilt
to
shaming.
compare.
No quilt shaming, but see, that's the difference. But yeah, so to get on our Always in Stitches Insiders page, you just look up Always in Stitches Insider on Facebook, and then you'll say it's a private group. Do you want to join? And you say, yes, I do. And it'll put your name in a bin, and I look at those people and go, oh yeah, they're not axe murderers. Well, I can't really tell, but
Well, yeah.
I'm going to guess they're
Quilters
not.
and axe murderers
Usually don't go together.
don't go together.
They stab things. Quilters stab things a lot, but
Yeah.
they're not axe murderers. So then I approve that person, and then they're in the group. And then it's not a buy-sell group. It's just a social group. It's a chance for us to talk to you and you to talk to us about all the fun things that you're quilting and that we're quilting, or even cross stitch or yarn. We
Like
have
if somebody
those.
comes in the store and they've brought a quilt that they've made out of fabric they bought here, we post that kind of stuff on our Insiders group.
Yep.
And because it's the page that we want everybody to know that they can go to when they want to get inspiration. And boy, whenever somebody shares what they've been doing, it inspires other people to say, oh, I love that. Maybe I ought to do something like that. Or, I've had that kid at home for 3 years. Maybe I better get that back out and try that.
Well, and it's replacing your ability to walk in the brick and mortar store with a social place you can do that, because we miss that. So many of us haven't been able to go places and do things. And
With gas the way it is,
Oh my
you gotta
gosh.
limit your choices in
travel.
Yeah,
So it's your opportunity to say, hey, I still want to be part of the stitching community, but I can't leave my house, or I don't want to leave my house, or I don't want to put on clothes. I want to stay in my pajamas.
Don't want to put on your bra.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm with you.
Okay, there we go.
Look how
Look
fun.
at that lickety split. We have 2 blocks. Let's go over to the wall.
Let's take them.
We love that. That's our favorite part. We forgot to
Did
cover to
Peter
the wall
did Peter
last
leave
week.
his even though he was on
No,
vacay?
he hasn't put his on the board for a while because he refuses to put them in order. And I said he couldn't just flop them up there. He had to
Oh
put
no,
'em
they
in
got to be in
order.
order.
They got to be in order. So here's the first one that we did today, and then here's our Flying X. And I'll have to put Cappy's
Yeah,
up
that's
later
no
because
wor-
it's
that's no
gonna have
rush.
to move things. And then here's,
I love that gray background.
isn't
That
that
is so
fun?
pretty.
Peter bought me that, so I'm using that as my Peter background blocks.
Pretty.
So there we go. Isn't that pretty? Now see, I've already used that red, but I had to use it again. And then that yellow I hadn't used. I used that yellow, but I hadn't used that yellow before. And they won't go together in the quilt. They'll be all mixed up.
And I think this is a good little trick to know. Put your blocks up and take a picture because then
Yeah.
you really, I don't know what happens in a
I
picture.
don't know. It's 2-dimensional instead of 3.
Yeah,
And it makes your eye see things that it wouldn't normally see.
those are lovely.
So isn't it fun?
Love it.
Another 2 blocks.
Yoo-hoo! Lickety split. We're
Lickety
done.
split.
We're
We're
on our way.
done. Thanks for coming along. Hope you had a good holiday. Hope all the puppies and kitties are okay from all the fireworks. And I guess I'll just see you next Monday because that's the regular day
Yeah.
for meeting at the sewing machine. Have a nice week. Bye-bye.